Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow honorees, Steve Benson and Sherman Finger, my two very good friends. I have to tell you that I'm a little hard of hearing, so if you need to applaud, and I hope you do, applaud real loud, please. Thank you. Boy, that worked. I first wish to thank the Illinois Golf Hall of Fame Selection Committee that have, in my golden years, bestowed this prestigious Hall of Fame award on me, a top award in our state and in the field of golf. Ladies and gentlemen of the Selection Committee, I'm extremely, extremely grateful to you. I now wish to thank Mr. Mike Solo, outstanding former Briarwood Country Club president, past outstanding Green chairman, and forever my mighty friend. Mr. Solo, along with Briarwood's popular golf director, handsome Randy Cochran, a long, wonderful friend, in a moment of weakness, submitted my name to the Illinois Golf of Fame Selection Committee. Their strong speeches of support on my behalf helped me get this prestigious honor. Of course, I humbly must state that Mike and Randy had imposing talent to work with. From my heart, I thank you guys. Right now, I wish to thank Mr. Sheldon Solo, who always has been my friend through thick and thin, and who in 2003 was a major, major influence in getting me the prestigious North American Superintendent of the Year award. Shelley, your brother, Michael, and you have done so much for me, and I'm very grateful to you. I want to thank all the members of Briarwood Country Club, especially the officers and directors, past and present, who have supported me since I started in 1961. My sincere thanks go out to Mr. Michael Strauss, president of the Briarwood Country Club, and General Manager Ed Contour, two good friends who could not be here. However, some members, employees, and other dear, dear friends, including board member Bradley Glass, are here to honor me. Thank you for your support and friendship. I wish now to thank my 5 wonderful children, Linda, Laura, Andrea, Shannon, and Danny, and their dear mother, Donna, in Canada. I also have 7 grandchildren. I wish with all my heart that you could all be here, but only Laura from Maryland and Danny from Scottsdale, Arizona are here to honor their old dad. Thank you, my Laura and Danny boy, for making this long journey. Only God knows how much I love you all. My beloved nephew Nick is also here. Nick is the only very close relative that I have in this state. He and his family live in Antioch. Nick and I are kindred spirits, and we see each other almost every week for sushi. My family makes me feel like I'm the luckiest man in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just one more thank you to a wonderful friend and a great Briarwood employee. Mr. Mo Sanchez and his wife, Juanita, are here. Mo was my super assistant for over 40 years. His hard work, loyalty, and strong support helped me to be here. Mo is still assistant at Briarwood and working hard for our talented new superintendent, Justin Van Landuit. Mo, I'm very grateful to you, and I want you to please stand up and be recognized. Now, allow me to tell you how my journey in golf began. In the spring of 1952, my late brother Peter and I traveled to Alberta after reading an ad in our local newspaper, the Saskatoon Star-Phoenix, that the famous Canadian Jasper Park National Golf Course and Resort was looking for a few good men to work on the golf course. I was 19 years old and Peter was 17. This was the first time either one of us had been away from home, so we looked forward to new adventures, including being able to work in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta. Until this time, we had lived in the province of Saskatchewan, which is much like Illinois in that it is very flat. Farmers used to say, if suddenly your wife and your dog decided to run away from you, you could see them run for 3 straight flat miles. Some of the dogs came back. Come back, Fido, come back. Or maybe it was Lassie. Peter and I enjoyed working at the Jasper Golf Course that summer. We met many nice people that stayed at the beautiful resort. In fact, my brother, who later in life was a scratch golfer, often played golf with many of the wealthy guests. Guests like Mr. and Mrs. Spalding of the Spalding Golf Ball Company. They were an odd couple. Mr. Spalding was 6'6", and Mrs. Spalding was almost 5 feet tall and almost that wide. Yet she drove the ball further than her husband. Pops Brinkwood was the Jasper Pro superintendent and our mentor. Pops was one of the finest gentlemen I had ever known, and he was called the Dean of Canadian Western Greenkeepers and held in high esteem by all the people in the golf business in Canada. Pops often would get games for Peter because, as I said before, Peter was such an excellent golfer, handsome, and a real charmer. Guests loved to play with my brother. Sometimes I would ask Mr. Brinkwood, Mr. Brinkwood, what about me? Pops would give me a big smile and reply, Paul, go rake the traps on number 7 hole. This was the hole furthest away from the lodge where the bears and the cougars used to hang out. I was brave. I wasn't much of an athlete, like my brothers were, but I tried. I grew fast, I was awkward. I had a hard time staying up on hockey skates. I fell off bicycles. I got hit in the head by hockey pucks, golf balls, and large hail. I'm surprised that I never got hit by lightning. I was definitely a survivor, and by the way, I was a stutterer. In the summer of '53, my all-time hero, Ben Hogan, flew to the Jasper Park Resort in his private plane to relax and do some trout fishing in the mountains. Ben Hogan had just won the British Open in Carnoustie and still limped from his almost tragic bus accident. A Canadian friend of Ben's prevailed on this great athlete to play the beautiful Jasper Golf Course, maintained by Peter, me, and about 16 other young men. Ben did not refuse his Canadian friend. So Peter and me and about 50 guests followed Ben through the back 9 holes. At that time, there were no golf carts, so it was exhausting. But Ben didn't quit. Ben Hogan never quit on anything, did he? By the way, we saw him eagle the Jasper 13 hole, the only par 6 that I have ever played. Afterwards, our mentor, Pops Brinkwood, humbly approached Ben with a white Ben Hogan cap in hand. Everyone in those days wore a white Ben Hogan cap. And asked Ben if he would talk to the student caddies of Jasper at their annual caddy banquet. I remember standing next to Pops and Peter when Ben Hogan said he would be delighted. I think Pops on purpose turned on his Scottish brogue just a wee bit. The top student caddies came from every summer from colleges all over Canada to caddy at Jasper. They were provided housing, food, and made good tuition money caddying. Some of the older caddies fell in love with the rich girl guests, and some even got married. Peter and I escaped, but we sure had fun playing the romantic field. The next evening at the clubhouse, Ben Hogan gave about a 30-minute speech to the caddies and others who attended the banquet. What he said changed the lives of Peter and me forever. The great Ben Hogan told the rapt audience of young people, if you go into the golf business and work hard, you will live like millionaires, even if you're not one. And so today I stand in front of you, in large part due to a speech made in a remote part of Canada by one of golf's greatest legends, Mr. Ben Hogan. Now I'm going to jump 20 years to August of 1972. That was the year I gave a controversial talk in New York to the USGA Annual Green Seminar. It was entitled, Overgrooming is Overspending. In essence, my presentation was simple. Simply that we superintendents should not overgroom the whole golf course so meticulously. Concentrate even more on greens, fairways, and tee management. But let's stop this practice of ridiculous wall-to-wall manicuring and overgrooming to such a degree that we were pricing ourselves out of the golf course business. That was in the 70s. Leave some land for wild animals, songbirds, native flowers, and native grass. Give back them their vanishing habitat, and at the same time, make the golf game more challenging and enjoyable the way it was meant to be by the founders and architects of this wonderful game. Let's stop this present-day look of manicured, expensive turf, clipped to an unnatural perfection. Whenever I gave this overgrooming talk to my fellow superintendents and others, or wrote about it, it was quoted in articles. The reaction by some was that I had lost my marbles. Most of the others didn't take me seriously. Some even wrote strongly against my natural look concept. But then something happened. Inflation. The high cost of maintaining the country clubs, I think we're going through that right now. The country clubs drastically accelerated in the 70s. Concern set in about the high cost of maintaining golf courses, and then my idea of wildflowers and the natural look suddenly didn't sound so loony, because it helped to save money. Now golf course architects also begin praising and promoting the virtues of my natural look whenever they broke land for a new golf course. Something else happened. People began to be deeply concerned about our ecology and environment. Scientists who had been warning us for years about old Mother Earth and the dangers facing her due to too much technology and poisonous emissions began to be closely heeded. A little old lady from Texas began planting wildflowers along Texas highways and roads. Her name was Lady Bird Johnson. The natural look began to make sense. Today, I'm happy to say that hundreds of golf courses have set aside natural areas to prosper and spread. Many golf courses enhance these restful areas even more, such as Justin, our superintendent, is continuing to do. And of course, golf course continue to do. And of course, golf course architects continue to build golf courses with that Scottish look. Landscape firms and seed companies are doing profitable business, providing the natural look to golf courses, parks, industries, schools, highways, mining sites, and even homeowners. The natural look has taken over in our landscape, and not just found and forgotten in old graveyards and railroad rights of way. It is now easier for all of us to follow the great Walter Hagen's advice, be sure to stop and smell the flowers as you go by. I am glad to had a part in providing this opportunity. Last of all, I now would like to conclude by sharing a golf prayer with you that my late brother Peter left me prior to his passing. Lord, when my last putt has dropped into the cup and the light of my last day has faded, may I be able to turn to you a scorecard to show I did my best. Thank you.